Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. In this video, we will be discussing the most aesthetic guys in men's open bodybuilding today. And if you guys are enjoying the content, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. So in no particular order, we are going to start with Regan Grimes, as I'm sure you guys can see why he makes the list. Regan has a very small waist, huge shoulders, and flaring quads. And Regan has been told that his shape is so good at a point he actually went down and competed in the classic physique division. I believe Regan Grimes actually won the New York Pro, but he is back up in men's open where he belongs. Now, he didn't have the best showings prior to working with Coach Milo Sarchev, but Regan brought his best package at the time to date at the Legion Sports Fest, where he would place second place to Sean Clarita. A little bit after that, Regan Grimes would get his second pro win at the KO Squad Egypt Pro, and the year prior, he got his first pro win at the 2020 Romania Pro. After that, he would place third in Prague behind Samson Dauda and Rafael Brandao, but incredible package. And as you guys can see, Regan has one of the best abs and thighs in the ifbb. Mass with class, and these physiques are some of my favorites in the ifbb, taking nothing away from the mass monsters. Excited to see Regan compete this year, man. Incredible physique. Now, the next guy we're going to talk about is going to be Rafael Brandao. Very aesthetic, man. Great quads, huge, flaring, separated. Rafa is coming off a win from the Arnold South America, Arnold Brazil, and he is going to the Mr. Olympia. Rafael Brandao got his first pro win last year at the Romania Pro over Samson Dauda after placing second to him at Prague Pro. This is one of my favorite physiques in ifbb currently, man. We actually have a lot of great athletes coming out of Brazil. Now, you could arguably say Rafa was more aesthetic back in 2019 at this Arnold Classic, but just to be more competitive in bodybuilding, guys, you have to put on size. The physique on the left, no matter how conditioned he was, would not win a Mr. Olympia. So unfortunately, you do have to get big to be able to compete with the top guys in men's open bodybuilding. But Rafa has an incredible physique, incredible shape, and he's done a great job of putting on size slowly while maintaining the lines. And if you guys want to see how Rafa looks in the off season, this is actually the latest from him with the winner of the Muscle Contest Brazil, Vitor Boff, who actually placed second to Rafa back at the Arnold South America. Rafa incredible even in the off season. And the next guy we're going to talk about is going to be the 15th Mr. Olympia, also our current reigning Arnold Classic champion, Brandon Curry. Now, prior to a lot of these young guys on this list coming in, I'm pretty sure Brandon was known as the most aesthetic guy in men's open bodybuilding. Incredible physique, and Brandon has one of the most 3D physiques since Flex Wheeler and Phil Heath. Shoulders, arms, everything is just bubbly, cartoonish. And I'm pretty sure Brandon is no more than maybe 250 pounds on a bodybuilding stage, but looks a bit bigger than that because of his genetics. Now, as we all know, Brandon does get a lot of flack for having smaller legs, but at this Arnold Classic, I feel like they actually look pretty proportionate to his physique. But do you guys think Brandon Curry will be able to win another Mr. Olympia? And the next guy on the list is going to be the boogeyman, Blessing Awodibu. Blessing has an incredible physique, man. Some of the biggest biceps in the ifbb, along with one of the most aesthetic physiques. Blessing Awodibu won the 2022 Indy Pro as well as the New York Pro. And he did troll Charles Griffin a bit and said he was going for 3 for 3, but he wanted Charles to qualify for the Mr. Olympia. But Blessing brings a whole different level of energy to the sport than what we're used to seeing. And even with the crazy antics outside of the stage, Blessing still brings it on the stage. And Blessing Awodibu did the Indy Pro as well as the New York Pro last year, taking 3rd and 6th place respectively. Came back in 2022 to win both shows. Now, if you guys didn't know, he was being coached by Chad Nichols last year, who was the coach of Ronnie Coleman. And this year he was being coached by George Farrell, and he says George is the best thing that's ever happened to him. So different coaches work for different people, guys, but Blessing Awodibu, one of the most aesthetic that we have. Now, the next guy we're going to talk about is going to be Samson Dauda, and this is the posing routine from the 2021 Prague Pro, which was his first pro win. Samson, one of the fastest growing pros I believe we have. Samson's popularity is constantly growing, and with him placing higher at shows, a lot of people have him placing top 6 at this year's Mr. Olympia. And at the Arnold Classic in his posing routine, he actually imitated Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone, as well as Sean Ray. I would have shared that footage with you guys, but isn't really the best quality. And Samson Dauda placed 4th at the Arnold Classic as well as the Boston Pro. So he solidified himself as being, you know, a top guy. Look at this. Look at this crucifix pose to the right, and look at him just standing relaxed to the right. A lot of people have compared this picture of Samson on the left to pictures of Flex Wheeler. Samson is incredible, man, and I'm excited to see the package that he's going to bring to this year's Mr. Olympia. Not 100% sure where I have him placed yet, but this package from the Arnold Classic definitely woke a lot of people up and have a lot of people looking at him. Samson just needs to make a little bit of improvements to the back. Now, I know this is a video on who's the most aesthetic in the IFBB, guys, but just me being me, I have to add some information for those of you who may not know. And I'm not taking notes, so this is all from memory. But transitioning into the next guys, you guys can see on the left, these guys are actually very, very similar. And this was at the Romania Pro where Samson Dauda placed second, Quentin Aria placed fifth. These guys are very identical. You can almost cover up their faces and it'll be hard to tell the difference. But I did just make a video recently on how Quentin Aria could be the future of the IFBB. So we aren't going to talk about him too much, but just off his recent placings, he placed fifth at Romania. And he actually placed second at the Toronto Pro behind Joel Thomas. So he almost punched his ticket to the Mr. Olympia. Quentin is one of my favorite physiques. Honestly, all of these guys are my favorite physiques, man. I love the mass with class physiques, but Quentin will be competing in Tampa and Texas very, very soon. Now, the last guy we're going to talk about, but definitely not least, is going to be Patrick Moore. Now, Patrick Moore won last year's Cali Pro, came into the Mr. Olympia, placed about 14th, and he's actually suffering from an injury right now, so we may not get to see Patrick compete. But aside from that, as you guys can see, Patrick has a very small waist, mass with class, and Lee Haney himself actually said that Patrick Moore was one of his favorites, you know, reminding him a lot of himself. And look how tight the waist is in his side tricep. Now, you could arguably say he was a lot more aesthetic in 2019 at the Mr. Olympia. He placed 10th. Look at the arms. I think Pat's arms have definitely downsized a little bit, but a lot of people don't talk about Patrick Moore as much as they used to because he was supposed to be the future in 2019, and it's 2022 and he hasn't lived up to other people's expectations yet. But that takes nothing away from Patrick, man. Great bodybuilder. As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video, man. If you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and I'm out.